Altheris, there are many changes taking place within the family unit at this time on Earth, with people getting divorced, children living between different houses, different parents coming along. I wonder if you could explain the impact of this new way of being in family.
Well, the impact of the new way of being in this type of family is from two perspectives. In terms of that which is the nature of the first perspective, which is the lowering of the vibrational frequency of the individual that is part of that family, then of course they will go through a process of what we would say is grief in terms of the splitting of that family, because in terms of the vibrational frequency that they have become used to, then there is a loss that they will sense in the nature of their experience. But of course, in terms of what occurs as a natural way of being, is when you go through that which is a grieving process, which is part of the splitting of the family, there is a self-inquiry that occurs to the nature of how you can be more in the world in the way that the new family begins to emerge. So what we are talking about here is, for instance, if you have a child, perhaps around the age of 10, or it may be the age of 15, it does not matter, but they are witnessing that which is the breakup of a family unit that they have become used to, that they have become attached to, in terms of the way of being. Of course, it is not always necessarily the case that they are in peace and harmony with the family, but it is what they know, and it is their vibrational frequency. And when that begins to dissipate, then there is what we would say, a lowering of the vibrational frequency, where they are in mourning or where they are afraid of what is occurring, because when you are in fear, that is when your vibrational frequency drops. Or when you are happy or when you are certain, that is when your vibrational frequency moves up. So when there is a breaking up of a family unit, then there is a drop in the vibrational frequency because of uncertainty, because of fear, because of loss. But that is a process that does not stay in that particular energetic way of being forever, because what is invoked or what comes up is the nature of the, we would say, desire to understand what has occurred. And of course that can be different for different children at different ages. But when there is a opportunity, it will emerge in terms of the understanding of the nature of how, from a, we would say, blended energy. And of course this is not the language that the children will understand, but it will come up as an energy. There will be an understanding that that particular family unit that they were a part of could not stay together in that particular way of being, because there are perhaps things that are occurring that are hidden beyond their consciousness. But there are other things that they can see, but they can understand that that family unit can no longer sustain itself at that vibrational frequency, and that something has to change. And whether or not there is a truth telling within the family to keep the family together, or whether there is a non-truth telling and the family itself dissipates, what occurs is a raising of the vibrational frequency through inquiry of the individual, through the child or the adolescent or the adult, whoever is a part of that family. What will occur is that they will then begin to raise their vibrational frequency to a different level after, and we would say over a sustained period of time, whether that is perhaps 6 months to a year of your time, where they begin to understand and begin to come used to that which is the new experience that has come into their life from an energetic perspective. What is important is that this inquiry or this process of grieving for the loss of that which is the splitting up of a family unit is allowed to run. You cannot force that. Of course, it does not matter that they do not understand it at that particular point in time, as long as there is a growth in terms of their ability to witness themselves within the nature of the relationship, that then becomes part of their existence as their family begins to split away. But of course, what is important is that they then begin to see themselves They then begin to understand the nature of their desire to be in the world in a particular way. It brings them back into themselves. And part of the opportunity that then becomes available to them in terms of how they exist in the world is that they can then see that their family, although at a particular point in time seemed to consist of perhaps a mother and a father and a brother, perhaps sisters or an aunt and an uncle or a grandma and a grandmother, then what we would say is that it is important that they expand the nature of that which is their awareness or their consciousness around what a family actually means. And of course, when there is a splitting within the nature of that which is a family, energy from a child, for instance, gets put into perhaps a different adult that seemingly sits outside of that which is the immediate family. And it is this where the transfer of the energy then begins to show to the child or begins to show to the adolescent individual that family has a much wider context than that which was once the direct contact between perhaps themselves and their mother and father. And of course, as soon as you begin to expand the nature of that, which is obviously your way of being in the world and your understanding of what family is, and you get to the point where you can see that your family extends much further than that which is the immediate family. It incorporates the community in which you live. It incorporates your friends. It incorporates teachers. And it incorporates people that are of influence to you. And once you understand the nature of your energy, to draw in those that you need to help to assist your life in the way that it needs to be assisted, and once that as an experience has been brought into the physical body, what you then do is you disblend from various people and bring others in to begin to allow the fullness of yourself to emerge like a butterfly from a chrysalis. You begin to emerge into the world, and as an energy you draw more and more and different people into your energetic field. And community, your own community with you at the centre of it, begins to arise, begins to build itself, so you can take whatever experiences you need or whatever energies you need from that community. But even then, once you are aware of the nature of that as the mechanism of how you are in the world, you then understand that outside of the small community that you have built, outside of that which was once your family, exists a much wider community called humanity. And across humanity, in terms of the nature of the energies that exist, there is different people, different energies, different experiences that are available to you. And you step out into the world, into the community of humanity, and you create different, what are global experiences. What is important at this moment in time, when you have come to understand the nature of the global community, that you can then see in that global community where there are disparities in terms of people having different experiences that may look as if they are in pain or may look as if they are in suffering. And whether or not, when you look inside of yourself, there is something that you need to do about that, something that, as an experience, you are called upon to create something of a more equal ground, a more level playing field, as you like to say. So what is important is that even though right at the beginning, when a family is beginning to split up, what occurs is the nature of the child goes through a grieving process. And this grieving process needs to be allowed to run, because it is the forerunner of that which is the awareness that will arise to the nature of that which is the global community. And we are not saying that this just happens, of course, to children that are becoming part of a family that splits up. It can occur in any children. It can occur in the nature of a child where the family does not split up. But what we are saying is that the sadness or the unhappiness that arises out of the nature of the family splitting up can be the catalyst for a much global conscious awareness within that child.
Thank you.
You're welcome.